It's just a shade after 6 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We now have a quorum and are good to go. I want to thank everybody for coming. Got a couple of guests here. Looks like Ray and Dave is here. That's good. Glad to see you, Dave. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with consideration of planning and zoning minutes from the meeting held on June 30th. Entertain a motion to accept those.
Waive the reading.
Thank you. Have a motion to accept and waive the reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you very much. Public comment, Annabeth? Nobody here to speak tonight? Okay. So first, really on the agenda as our work here is, this has been a lot of fun. I've done a lot of research, and I
Is that what
think,
you call that?
yep, I think a lot of other people have done a lot of research. So I'm just going to try to refresh your memory from our last meeting. We had discussed a while back where we had given Joey a stop work notice that he could use out on the job, and it works. However, you still have those few that still kind of take advantage of him at times. And one way to kind of go along with the stop work order is to create a some sort of form of a penalty or a fine structure. Joey came to me and asked me if I would consider it, and I told him I would take it to planning and zoning. I think it's a wise decision, just another piece to the stop work order. I believe I presented to you the code official's recommendations, which I thought was in line. I went ahead and checked with neighboring municipalities, and it works out that they're fairly similar. He's got a great relationship with the Beckley or the Raleigh County folks, and they certainly use it too. And his first offense was a warning. I think this planning and zoning commission wanted that to happen. Instead of a fine on the first offense, started with a warning. The second offense was to double the fee, double the permit fee that they would have paid. Third offense is a triple the permit fee. And the fourth offense was a quadruple, and hopefully it would never get to a quadruple. But the whole point here is not to make money off of this, because as you know, these permit fees are not real expensive, so you're not going to make a lot of money off of this. It's more or less to try to streamline and make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. So the fines basically just help remind people that, hey, I need to make sure I have a permit in place. That was the first stem of it. That wasn't the fun part. The fun part was, before we could vote on it, the question came up, so who do we fine? And that's a very good question, okay? I mean, that's a very good question. And that's where the fun part came, and I got involved in other municipalities and their ordinances and structure, and I can tell you it's kind of a mix. However, and I think that Sherry's going to speak. I know Jim is. It's funny they continue to go back to it's a landowner's responsibility. That is what you continually see in those ordinances. And I'll read you some of the findings as I was going through them. I went ahead and I'm going to read a little bit about what I found, and I sent this to Joey, our code official, and I'm just going to read you what I sent to him. And I did check several. What I'm going to concentrate in here right now is going to be Beckley and Morgantown, because that's pretty much what everybody else is doing too. In Beckley, the homeowner is ultimately responsible for obtaining the necessary building permits. Even if a contractor is hired to do the work, while a licensed contractor typically applies for and handles the permit in their name, it's the property owner's duty to ensure a permit is issued. So basically, you're seeing that a lot. You're seeing the contractors doing it, and of course, they're the ones that play in this field all the day long, and they're the ones that know that there's a permit. So oftentimes, they're going to these homeowners and saying, hey, a permit is needed, do you want to get that, or would you like me to get that? Either way is a good thing, I can tell you that, because somebody's coming to check. So if it's a homeowner coming in, we should be at our office checking to make sure that that's a licensed contractor doing the work. And if the contractor comes in, we're getting to see several different things. We're seeing not only are they a licensed contractor, but are they up to date with their business licenses and things of that nature. So, you know, there's a lot of positives to that both ways. So the city of Beckley Code Enforcement Department issues the permits, and the homeowners should confirm their contractors are registered with the department. And that takes place at our window, where our people will do that as they come in and do those permits. Homeowner responsibilities: confirm permits, verify with the city of Beckley Code Enforcement Department that a permit is pulled and approved for the work. Contractor registration: ensure the contractor is registered with the city of Beckley. Final inspection: schedule the final inspection for the completed project with the Code Enforcement Office. Typically those are much larger projects and things of that nature. Homeowner exemption, and this is interesting, and I see this across the state too. If you are the homeowner and are performing the work on your own residence, you are exempt from needing a state of West Virginia contractor license for that project. Contractor responsibilities: apply for the permit. A licensed contractor will apply for the building permit and pay the associated fees. Register with the city. Any contractor working in Beckley must register with the city's Code Enforcement Office. Provide proof of licensing. Contractors must provide proof of their state of West Virginia contractor's license and workers' compensation insurance. Where to go? They go to the Beckley Code Enforcement Department. Moving on to Morgantown, both the homeowner and the contractor can obtain a building permit, but it is typically the contractor's responsibility. So here we go, we got something a little bit different. Okay? Homeowners are ultimately responsible for ensuring permits are secured before work begins. So they are still going back to the homeowners. And that's where the fines would go to, is the homeowner. It wouldn't go to the contractor. So that was a great question. I think you're the one that brought that up. Homeowners are ultimately responsible for ensuring permits are secured before work begins. Contractor's responsibility: a standard practice is standard for a licensed, reputable contractor to include the cost of permits in their project bid and to obtain the necessary permit themselves. This ensures they are liable for their work, meeting local codes. A major red flag is a contractor who is unwilling to pull permits, may be unlicensed, or have a history of code violations. If a contractor asks you to pull the permit, it's a warning sign and you should reconsider hiring them. Legal recourse: if your contract states the contractor is responsible for pulling the permits and they fail to do so, you may have legal recourse. Homeowners' rights and responsibilities. The ultimate responsibility as the property owner: you are legally, and this is critical, you are legally responsible for making sure all required permits are in place before starting work. If you proceed with unpermitted work, you will be liable for any fines or penalties. So they're saying that those fines are going over to the homeowners. Doing your own work in West Virginia, a homeowner can pull a permit for work on their own house as long as they reside there. Hiring contractors: even if you hire a contractor, it is wise to double check that they have secured the permits. You can call the City of Morgantown's Building Department to confirm that the permits have been obtained and closed out after final inspections. While the contractor should pull the permit, when a contractor pulls a permit, they assume professional liability for the project. If a homeowner pulls a permit instead, they accept responsibility and liability for all the work, which can have several negative consequences. The personal liability, the homeowner becomes personally liable for any code violations or injuries that occur on the job. Insurance issues, homeowner's insurance may not cover work done by an unlicensed contractor. And by pulling a permit yourself, you are legally acting as the contractor. So you can see that these things are going in a lot of different directions. But ultimately, they seem to always fall back to the landowner, the homeowner, when it comes to the fine structure. So, again, I think Sherry did a lot of work on this too, so I want her to go ahead and speak a little bit to what she found on some of it.
Basically the same thing. The articles that I've done, the contractor I spoke to, he actually has in his contract that the homeowner is to get the permit. So that was in his contract, things that it said that if they didn't do it for the contractor to get the license, every article I came across said that the contractor is to get the license. If they don't get the permit, it could be their own permit obtained. It'd save the time and the money as the contractor is familiar with the process versus going in, needing this information, having to come back, or being contacted by the office, wait a minute, you can fill this out, get that out, and get back to it. Whoever pulls the permit is responsible to see that the work meets the code and passes inspections. Like you said, because homeowners may not know what that is. And it said too, it was a red flag for a contractor refusing to pull the permit where they may be unlicensed or had problems working with the city, just things along the same line.
Yeah. So you were looking at literally some contracts from contractors, right?
I spoke to his wife,
Okay, good deal.
and she said in their permit, and I also spoke to my husband, who was the health inspector in another county, and he said he saw both sides of it, to
Yeah.
where he had worked with his brother as a contractor before, and they want the homeowners to be responsible. So that way they're not laying out the money for the permits themselves, but that could be put back into the bid. Whereas when he's a health inspector, the homeowners aren't getting the correct, they don't know the codes, they don't know what it is, so they want the contractors to get
Yeah,
the permits, so they know what they're doing.
I agree. I agree with all that. You know, it's tough. I find that many of our citizens, you know, most people don't understand that you have to get certain permits. There's a lot to do, but they don't know what permit to get. And you know, I find that the contractors, pretty much they all know. They all know they're supposed to get it.
They absolutely know that.
And so, you know, I told Joey, either way, whatever direction we go in, if we go in the way that the homeowner is responsible, I still will probably put a letter in with the contractors as they pick up their business licenses to make sure that, you know, you don't want any downtime. You don't want our code officials to come out and stop the work and then have downtime because they don't have a business or a building permit up.
Well,
So-
too, if the contractors get the permit, they know when they can start working, whereas
Yes.
if the homeowner gets the permit, they can't start working until the contractor has the permit, so they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs until the homeowner gets it to them.
Correct. Craig, you're kind of on that other side. You're on that contracting side. How do you feel about that? Would you rather a homeowner get it, or would you rather your people get it?
I think it's an either or, but I think it's the responsibility of the homeowner or the owner, because in a commercial situation, it's not a homeowner, it's the owner.
True.
And if they write a contract, like a lot of the jobs I work on, you know, it may specifically be in the bid that the GC gets the building permit.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've seen it both ways. In some cities, it's the owner, period.
Mhm.
In some, it's the GC.
Yeah, that's exactly what I found. I mean, as I go through, that was the fun part, going through and checking them all out, and they were all over the place.
For the building permit. But
Yes.
the contractor still has to be licensed. That's
Yes.
not the homeowner's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's their problem. but-
No, that's a good point. I want to make that clear. What I'm talking about is just the building permit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think it should fall back to the owner.
I think the responsibility should be on the owner. But, I mean, the owner can't do this without the contractors, without either having a complete contractor, a contract itself, a written agreement in most cases. In a lot of cases, stuff that you get done by contractors, you don't have that. I mean, you go on based on recommendations and, you kind of get that worked out. So, but there's all kinds of information on that permit application that the homeowner doesn't have.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's gotta come from the contractor one way or the other, and I can understand that it's the homeowner's responsibility. He takes ultimate responsibility for getting a permit. But not, I mean, as far as knowledge of what the law is or anything else, or what the requirements are, I don't think you can very well lay that on the homeowner.
Every article I read said that the homeowner needs to be involved in the process to make sure he knows what the contractor's doing. So being involved and keeping in contact with him, but he doesn't know what the regulations
I mean,
are.
most people don't even know about a contractor license. I mean, we had some Sherry, a recent, somebody I'm pretty close to, had a situation, a guy comes in and says, well recommended, and says, I'll do the work, and what about the building permit? And said, well, you can get it or I can get it, either one, doesn't make any difference. When it came down to it, he says, you get it. And then, of course, we kind of looked into it and determined that he didn't have a contractor license. It's the reason he didn't want to get it,
That's what,
couldn't get it.
that's what Morgantown was telling me.
Yeah,
There's some red flags that
That's
pop
the
up.
deal,
Yeah.
that's the deal. There's some other red flags that pop up, but I think it's okay to have the homeowner ultimately responsible for getting the permit for work to be done. I mean, I think that's okay, but, I mean, as far as knowledge of what's required for these contractors to do it, I mean, administratively, I mean, the workers' comp and, the business license, different kinds of licenses that are required. How's the homeowner gonna know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some of them may. Now, the thing that's different about the contractor license itself, and I dealt with people in my previous work life, I dealt with quite a bit of this stuff. And everybody that is licensed as a contractor in the state of West Virginia has to take a test. And the first part, everybody has to take this part. It's like
Business.
one or more different tests. It's called business in the law. And it's basically goes over all this stuff, but what's required. So all of it, if a contractor is a valid contractor, and you can go on the state's website, West Virginia Department of Labor, Contractor Licensing Board has a website, and you can go on there and check and see if somebody is licensed. Get your license number, and that's what we did. We went out and said, well, the guy doesn't have a license.
Sir?
So, now, some kinds of works require testing, further testing. Some of them don't.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be a painter,
Yeah, like HVAC or.
you have to take testing that relates to that particular kind of work. But there's some things that you can get licensed for without taking anything other than I think maybe landscaping's one of them, painting's one of them. Without taking any more kind of testing other than the
Special,
business and law test.
any specialty, you don't have to go beyond business at all.
That's right.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Joe.
So, now another question I had is, I don't mean to stir this thing any, but should some of this stuff be outlined in our ordinances?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't see reference to any of this stuff in ordinances.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because when they were written, it wasn't.
Yeah.
we didn't
Right.
have this issue.
No.
So the question is, should we kind of build this into some ordinance,
Certainly can.
I tend to think, I'm a simple guy, that somebody look at this town and want to do business here, ought to go to the, if they go to the ordinances, they can get a pretty good idea of what's required.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not in there.
I mean, how much, I mean, it doesn't say how much a building permit cost is.
No, I think it's a great idea. I think, so if everybody else is okay with that, let's build an ordinance, and let's just instill everything around it. That would be, you know, the building permit itself, who's responsible, fine structures if it doesn't happen, and things of that nature.
Yeah, you can build that in the permit, that way
Just
the
build it all.
homeowner, anybody can look at it and get a pretty good idea of what, you know.
And I think we ought to have something in there about if we, when do you have to get a permit? I mean, if I hire a guy to cut a tree down, I gotta get a permit.
Sure.
I hire a guy to cut my grass, and I get a permit.
Sure.
You know, I gotta,
Yeah.
guy comes in and washes my sidewalk, I gotta get a permit, or would I?
So identify
Yeah.
what jobs require permits.
Sure.
Basically. Yeah. That would be built into the same one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Probably a
right.
dollar amount too, if it's under a certain dollar amount, you don't, I need a permit.
This guy, this particular guy, and I don't know whether he just didn't know, they said he did work in Kanawha County, so you'd think that some of that stuff's pretty closely looked at down there. But, he said, I'm licensed and insured. Well, he did have a business license, a state business license to do handyman kind of work. So that's what I mean about the homeowner. You know, when they talk this kind of stuff, you don't
Sure. They're not,
know that you're supposed to have this kind of license and that kind of license or whatever. Homeowner
Well,
doesn't know that necessarily.
And with a contractor's license, there is a dollar figure you don't have to have below that
I think
figure.
it's 2,500, 3,500.
Yes, it actually raised, it used to only be 800, but it did go up. But if you're just doing a small job like that,
You don't have to have
You don't have to have a contract.
That's true. The other thing I was telling Sherry that, and this is kind of getting into, I don't know, something we probably don't want to get into, but I had a case where I told a guy, you know, when do you have to have a contractor license? You know, if you go to, a case came up where a guy I was dealing with, and I had talked to him about this prior to, but he went and did a small plumbing job, and it was just, I don't know, less than $1,000 or something over in Beckley on a remodel job for a restaurant. The state inspector, the guy from the Department of Labor, came in and read him the Right Act. When he called me, he was scared to death. He said, how come you didn't tell me? I said, we talked about that. If the whole job exceeds that dollar amount, the whole job, not what you're doing, your little piece of it, but if the whole job exceeds that amount, you have to have a contractor's license to do it. That sounds pretty pitiful, but I mean, in my opinion, but that's how it works. So, he really got the Right Act read to him, so.
And the next Department of Labor guy come in, would have let him get both. That's the problem in this state is the,
inconsistencies.
it's who they know, who you, yeah. Department of Labor, I don't know what they're like now, but they were a pretty dirty group.
Anybody else have anything else?
So it's only to say that the homeowner, you can't expect the homeowner to understand this ins and outs of this big picture here, you know.
Right.
Unless you make it simple. To me, if you just streamline the permit process and make it simple, what are you doing? Painting my house. What's it gonna cost? $12,000. Okay, this is your fee, here it is. That's pretty simple. Who's gonna do your work? Then when they list that person, then it's up to you guys to come in and check out the contract.
Correct.
Well, that gets reasonable, because the code official looks at all these things, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you just need to make it, to me, just a simple streamlined thing for the homeowner. It's simple.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the contractor to prove himself after that point.
Right. Agree.
This whole process was intended to protect people from shoddy work and that kind of stuff, which still goes on.
Well, and also.
licensing contractors, but in doing so, you've got people that really work this thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like any other thing that the government tries to do, there's somebody else trying to,
Mhm.
even though it's well intended and.
Well, from the sounds of what I was reading from Morgantown and talking to them is, there's been some legal action up there. You know, it sounds to me like where somebody's been hurt or injured from a job not done properly,
Yeah.
and then that liability could be a bunch of zeros. You know,
And that can go back on the homeowner.
so. Mhm. Okay. Any other discussion on it? So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and table this, and we'll begin a form of an ordinance, and we'll work on that. Okay? And see if we can't come up with an ordinance that is relatively simple. We'll try to keep it as simple as we can, identifying what jobs need and what jobs do not need permits. I think we're pretty much on the same page as the homeowner is ultimately responsible for the permit. And try to lay that out. It's hard to, that might be a lengthy one, might be, but we got a lot to identify in that ordinance, so.
Is there a stop work permit now?
Yes, yeah, he has that.
You have one now?
Yeah, he has that.
No, okay, go ahead, Craig.
No, that was all I was saying.
Yeah.
Only thing, I thought about this a little bit, I don't know whether it makes sense or not, but, you know, the code official recommends, you know, the double permit, triple permit fee, you know, that kind of thing. The other thing I'm wondering about, you know, the guy comes into town once every 3 or 4 years and does something, and, I mean, what kind of time frame are we talking about, you know, as far as the fences go? Are we going to have to keep a log of these things, and every time somebody has one, we're going to have to go through the log and back through the log for umpteen years, or see if that guy was on there and whether to give him a double?
Yeah, there is,
You
there is.
understand what I mean?
Yeah,
I think you have to kind of consider the time frame or something in this, you know?
It'll be just for that particular job you're working on. I mean, if you come back and don't get a permit, we come back and you're still working on that same job. If you come back 2 years later, it's not the same job, it's something else.
Well,
You don't
no,
get a permit every time you get the permit, you tell them you want, it's gonna take 6 months or a year, or it's 2 weeks, or whatever it is, and that's the time frame.
yeah, I think what Jim, what you're saying is, there's gonna be, it's gonna be difficult to keep track of it, number one.
yeah.
And how are you gonna do that? That's a bookkeeping thing that they'll have to come up with some way there in the office to keep track of that. How many offenses have they had? You know what I'm saying?
Over what kind of period of time?
Yeah, over
You know,
what kind of-
is that gonna be a consideration or not? You know, if the guy's had some in the past.
Well, if it's on the homeowners, it doesn't matter how many the contractors had, but it's homeowner's responsibility, what you're saying, you want to put in it.
Yeah, so a homeowner could be taking the hit for things that he did in the past.
No, I think you're really talking about two different things.
Yeah, I do too.
You're talking about the contractor's license, their city license, not their actual contractor.
Right.
Versus the homeowner, they get their permit one time, they're done.
Yes.
If this guy's messed up a couple times, that should come on him,
Mhm.
not where he's doing his job.
Yeah. You're right. So the fine should be laid over to the
They
contractor.
should not be tied into the
No.
permit fee, they should just be tied
I
into,
agree. So the fine will be going over to the
Yeah.
contractor. Now, we're not answering your question yet, and I'm not dancing it, but I'm not dancing around it, but, so what you're saying is, should we give leniency if somebody hasn't had a penalty in 5 years, should we go back and get him for another one 5 years later?
Or did he settle the fee?
Well, also, you
I mean,
gotta,
if he's paid the fee and he settled it, then that's just like getting speeding ticket. You can't keep somebody from driving,
True.
you know, so if his first offense was $50 and he paid that and he got legal, then to me it just went away.
That's not, we'd have to build that into this or have some language to that effect in this, wouldn't we? I mean, seems like to me, this is not what we're really talking about here with this.
it also says in your violation, it's a class 1 misdemeanor against whom?
That's on a stop work order?
Yeah, is that against the homeowner who has gotten the license, or against,
See, now, when this was written, we didn't have the question of who's the responsible party, and this was laid toward the contractor.
yeah, I know,
So now, this will have to be changed too.
right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. He rarely ever does a stop work order. Rarely.
Well, now, here's the other thing I was thinking about. You know, if the guy's had a problem in the past, okay, let's say he settles up and it comes again, and he's got another issue. Does the code official just warn him at that point? Or does he bring the hammer down and say it's, you know, this is your second offense and your fee is double?
I think it's whatever we lay out. I mean, if it's a second offense and we lay out that it's doubled the permit, I mean, I think he's,
Well, I think the way I read this right here is, the way I interpret it,
Yeah,
if you come out and stop the job, and you're the contractor, you go back to work, the misdemeanor's on you. 'Cause
Yes.
You're the not the
Yes.
homeowner.
yes. Yes, it is. It's toward the contractor.
How much is a fee?
It varies, it does, but it's not very expensive. It's done by the dollar amount of the job. And it's not very expensive. Craig, you see those all the time. Do you know what your fees are
It
most of the
says,
time?
in the minutes, it says for jobs that are 5,000 or less, the building permit is only $12.50.
Yeah,
Commercial is $3 per $100.
yeah, so it's not real expensive. And the girls do all that math when they come into the window. But you do run across these things. He had one the other day, he called me, he goes, listen to this. Came up on someone and they had a building permit in their window. And it was from 2024. Okay, and those things are good for 6 months. So, you know, he didn't stop the work from happening, but somebody had to go downtown and get a permit. So that's something that, and the homeowner, he thought that was, or they thought that was a good one. I mean, it was okay. They didn't know the 6-month rule, and that's what I mean. Most people do not know that.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, most people don't know that. I mean,
Because if you're a homeowner and you're doing a project and you're working on it as you can after work on weekends, it may take longer than
it
6
could
months.
take a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending on how big the job you're doing.
Well, if you're building a house, what house could be built in 6 months?
True.
Yeah, true. I don't think that's good. That's probably not a good rule. It should be at least a year.
Take it from 6 months to a year. Okay.
Because of just, like she said, stuff can stretch out.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Weather and everything.
Well, this body right here can make that change.
Or it, to me, even if it's the same project, I don't think it should really be like, if you're building a house, you know, a house can take 2 years.
Yeah.
Why do you need to keep going back for the same permit?
Yeah.
So I think whatever project you're working on is until it's done.
Just like during COVID, all of a sudden you couldn't get lumber or anything else, and everything came ground to a halt. You couldn't do anything.
I do think though that they should, it is just my personal preference, I do think that there should be some kind of time limit, because a whole lot of things can happen if you're starting a project that takes 3 years. A lot of things can happen with that contractor's license. I mean, his stuff can go bad. He may not have his insurances. He may not have, I mean, a lot of things can happen in 3 years.
But that's up to
Well, I
that's
know
up to
when I
your
come down and
inspector.
when I've come down and got permits, they ask me what I'm doing, what it's gonna cost. And if I get a permit to put a new roof on my house, and the guy takes a year to do it. I mean, that should be covered under that one permit, because I had a permit to do a certain job. I think I'll go back to what you said, and I'll be the job that you're doing, and once that job's done, the permit's done.
And then if you,
I think we're okay with that.
if you have your inspectors like Joey showing up on a regular basis, he's gonna be checking those licenses.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's,
Yeah, he should. He should be checking those and making sure they're still up to date and still good.
We're gonna open up a small bureaucracy.
But
so
this
let's
is a
let's
good
not
one to do
talk,
around.
let's not talk our way into difficulty again.
Yeah, so when I opened up and I said this was fun, that's what I was talking about. This is a fun one. This is gonna be a tough one. It's a lot harder, I think, than what it looked like to begin with, but. Okay. Any other comments or discussion? So we'll
Now,
table
let
it.
me ask another question here. Gosh,
Mhm.
It says in that, in the ordinance, there's 1329.04 has to do with building permit. And 1329.01 says it's the duty of the city recorder to enforce provisions of this ordinance. So,
That'll have to be changed too. It really should be the code official, right?
so it comes to another question. What is the relationship with the city recorder to the code official, or is there any?
Oh, yeah, we talk, but
No, I
also,
mean on paper, I mean in the ordinance or chart or anything like that, where is it?
don't know.
In other words, does he fall under the recorder?
Yeah, or
Yes,
just
that's what, no, he does not fall under the recorder. He is under the mayor.
Because at one time he came under this board.
Yes.
Isn't that right? You remember that?
What's that?
You remember when the inspector, like Joey, came under this board?
Code
And that got
official.
Well, they always answer to the mayor.
Okay.
Well, you remember though, when the one guy from Braxton County, he came under this board and that's when it changed, when all that changed?
Yeah, what happened was, when Joey was hired, I know Robert discussed that and he changed
Yeah,
the chart,
Yeah,
and he put Joey under him. So it does fall under him. So we have this all throughout our ordinances, a lot of the ordinances from the 60s and 70s. There's places, we've already found some, and we want to continue to look for those and find others where the mayor has responsibility for something and he should be on that, or the recorder has responsibility for something that it really should be the code official. So we gotta continue to find those.
Do we have a city charter? Well, I went to the West Virginia Code, powers and duties of the recorder. And it basically said, outside of record keeping and, seeing that the records are maintained, kept, or whatever, it just kind of turns into a fuzzball and says something about city charter, if there is such a thing.
Not that I'm aware of.
Where do you go to for your job description?
The ordinances.
That's where
When I'm in
that's where it's
when I'm in
referenced
the
in?
ordinances, that's what
Okay,
that's the law for me. Okay.
all right.
As far as the revenue stream, now that's a whole different deal,
Yeah.
you know, the responsibility for the water and, you know, those type of things.
But when it said enforcement for the city code or city recorder,
Yeah.
so we probably need to change that. Okay, now, okay, I won't say anything else.
Want to say something?
Gary, there is a charter.
Charter, okay. Is it, what's the, does it have a number?
It's old.
Yeah,
Where is it?
it's gotta be.
I've had Cookie email it to me before for a grant, but I don't know where it's stored.
I'd like to see that thing.
Do you have a copy of it?
Copy.
Yeah, send me a copy of it.
I'd like to see.
So it's not like in an ordinance or,
I don't know.
I don't think it's,
I don't
I
think it
couldn't
is.
access it publicly, so
it's not in our ordinance.
No, I haven't seen it.
Aaron probably has it somewhere.
Okay,
If Cookie has it.
yeah, send that to me. I'd like to see
Yeah, I
it.
would do. May have something in there about what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't in my training.
Got to read the
Yeah,
charter.
I'll have to read that charter. There could be some
Charter.
interesting things in there. Okay. Any other questions or comments? That was the number that I needed, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, that's all that I know. Yeah. So see, that answers that question. It's about the ordinances. Okay. Any other comments on that? We'll move forward on coming up with an ordinance that'll help us lay that out in kind of layman's terms. We'll try to do that. No other comments on that? Okay. Moving on. I had a gentleman call me and asked me to put this on the agenda and just to discuss it. I told him I would. Basically, this gentleman has a trailer park. He has a couple of trailer parks, and at one trailer park on the back side of it, not next to anything, he's got an area that he would like to become open to campers. So as you know, like extended stays and things like that, people that maybe in oil and gas and want to come and stay for a while, those type of things. He asked me to just get a feel from the P&Z as to what they would like to do, or right now, there's none of that and we can't do that, okay? So it's clearly a mobile home ordinance. That's what we'll be discussing on the next line item, but the discussion of Article 1105, there is a mobile home ordinance and it does not allow campers to come in and hook up.
Does it state that? Does the ordinance state that it will not allow?
I don't know that it states that, but it doesn't identify that as a, you guys have that ordinance.
It states square footage or something. doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes by square footage,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we talking about mobile homes, or are we talking about campers or what?
Well, both.
Because it says that.
We haven't advanced to the mobile home ordinance yet, but a camper, he's wanting it to go into a mobile home.
It says
Parking,
on
yeah.
110506, it says for temporary occupancy, provided it does not exceed 15 days in any 6-month period.
Correct.
But when he's talking about putting it in the back of his trailer park, is he saying lots like the
Yes.
trailers are in and not just hodgepodge back there?
Yes. It would be like a campground, like a campsite. You go up and they have full hookups.
Because it already happened
Yeah.
during the pipeline.
Yeah.
Well, some of those campers are like $100,000 campers and they're really nice, so I mean,
Well,
same price as a mobile home.
Where is this going to fall into under your home rule?
Well, to me, it opens up Pandora's box. I
But
mean,
wasn't there some stipulations on home rule that you couldn't block out the tiny houses and the Airbnbs and things like that?
Yeah, you can't discriminate against Airbnbs. You gotta allow Airbnbs. I don't know that it states anything about campers. I mean, that's kind of a different scenario there. campers is a problem throughout the state. There's many municipalities that are writing ordinances right now, basically as we speak. They have campers that are, basically they're like homeless, and they pull their camper around and they just park it, and that's where they stay tonight. And it's becoming a real issue in a lot of areas. So there's municipalities, one for example is Parkersburg, just wrote an ordinance trying to prevent that from happening. So, but now this is just a totally different situation. This guy's wanting to have people come in for more than 15 days, which is our ordinance says 15 days. And set up, could be 6 months, could be 12 months, could be longer. And she is right, what she's saying, the folks that do that are traveling in very nice places. I mean, you know, they have nice setups, no doubt. But I told him I'd bring it to you, and if it was something that you guys wanted to look at in a little bit deeper way, we could. And that's what I've done, kind of pulled it out there.
I've talked enough.
You've thought enough?
I've talked enough.
Oh,
Does he think he wants this for a short-term stays or could be long-term stays?
both, could be both. I mean, sometimes you end up with both. I mean, like you have somebody come in, they think they're staying 6 to 12 months and
I'm talking about weekly or it'll be for months. I mean, is he clipping?
could be both. Yeah,
He didn't say which way he was going.
could be both. I mean, and that happens. A lot of those times, those guys come in and they think they're gonna be here 12 months, but they're here 3. And then they gotta leave. Of course, it's probably vice versa too. I mean, they may think they're coming in for 6 months and end up a year.
Yeah.
Probably like with everything else, if it's handled right, why not? If it's handled right.
How many mobile home parks do we have in the city?
3.
Is there a certain number to qualify?
We got more than that. We got 4. We got,
What's
There's
that?
at least 4.
yeah, we got 4. We got 4. Trailer parks.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, 5. They got the one down here is a trailer park, isn't it?
If you count,
Got the one here.
This
yeah,
right here.
I never look at that as a trailer park, but it is.
It is. You got
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
but the one up
It's
in
Arbuckle.
The old.
down Arbuckle, you got the one town, so the one out
Five.
Lincoln.
5.
And the one in, right there off of Highway, actually, the one hill, we get Don south of the hill there. And of course, the one out, Case Creek's out of town. That's the right in
Yeah,
front of
that's
us.
right.
Huh?
It's out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's out of town. Thoughts?
I kind of share. Tim, what do you think? You're the camper guy.
Well, it's the people who are traveling, they're gonna stay at a campground. But you got these people that come in, like you talk about, like we had for a while, that the pipeliners. They're coming in for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, maybe 2 years. And they can't afford to go to a campground and pay $80 a night to stay in a campground. So we need to have some place that they can come in and move in here and have a place to stay. And the mobile home park would be the thing to do without having someone else come in and set up a park up.
I think it has to be on kind of a case-by-case basis, don't you?
How many sites does he have?
Good question. I want to say there's 8, 9, something like that.
But what I look at too is that then they have to go by the rules of the park. I mean, you're gonna have, they're supposed to have underpinning underneath them, set them up and put them there where they're gonna be there a while, because most of them are gonna do that because the heat bill.
Yeah.
They're gonna be here in the wintertime and not have it underpinned underneath to protect. course, then there's some campers are, they call them, four-season campers. So they're equipped underneath to have the insulation and stuff to be able to sit outside in the wintertime under 0-degree weather. They don't need underpinning. But if he wants his mobile home park to be a mobile, he's gonna ask them to have it underpinned or something covering the bottom of it so it doesn't look like. But I'm not against having them be able to do it if it's, done it right. Of course, you're gonna come in and pay, your lot rent's gonna be anywhere from $600 to $800 or more dollars a month.
Mhm.
So
Tough one. I told him I'd lay it out there.
yeah. And if you do it for one mobile home park, you can also do it for all of them.
Exactly, that's the Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you want to.
Or you do it on a case-by-case basis,
You could have it,
So,
Location
set a
where-
bunch of stipulations to it. I mean, not everybody can afford to set them up.
Because don't you have to have so much space between each trailer?
well, he'll have his
So
own
much
lots.
area.
He'll have, there's gonna be renting a lot
Yeah,
that he has already set for a mobile home, that you're gonna be able to put your camper where the mobile home should be.
Is that what that was originally, Greg? Was it mobile home lots? Where were they putting the campers? Or did they just do this for that reason?
Yeah, it was just, it just looks like he added, it could be mobile home lots. I mean, you could make it mobile home lots.
Previous owner did.
What's that?
The previous owner.
Yes. I mean, he did, I mean, it looks fine. Not sure, I mean, the road's gonna need some work, you know? You got kids and stuff running in that neighborhood, so you're gonna have big vehicles going in and out of there a lot. It's like a campground, I mean, it's like a campground. I mean,
I just think that the spaces, if you're having a place where it's gonna be a long-term rental for a piece of property, a campground, they go anywhere from 15 feet, about 15 feet. The one I was in this past week, I stopped at one, it was 80 feet long
mhm,
and 20-something feet wide.
yeah.
And I've go to some of them, my camper's 40 foot long and 9 foot wide when it's open, but it's 14, 15 foot wide when all slides are out. And I just fit in the spot. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know enough, I just do not know enough about it. I mean, I just don't know enough about
so
it.
you want to, just go back to, the size of the spot ought to be at least, if you're gonna have a long-term rental, it ought to be at least 25, 30 foot wide
Mhm.
and 60 to 80 feet long.
Yeah,
Because you want to have a place for the average, the bigger, most of our campers are up to 45 foot. So, and they're gonna be, when they're spread out, they're 15 feet wide, then you're gonna have, what's the orders for having on each side?
yeah.
because they're basically the size of a small trailer, a single wide trailer.
Mhm.
That's what they
It's
use
no,
now.
it's wider.
It's
than-
wider.
Yeah. so-
Because you have slide outs.
But most of your travel trailers have slide outs. So that adds 3 feet to each side. So you're looking at, the camper itself is 8.5 foot wide. And that's what a motor home is, about 8 or 9 foot wide, though they are single wides.
So like a single wide trailer,
But with slide outs, where a trailer doesn't have slide outs, so it's slide
Yeah.
out.
Right. No, they typically will build decks on and things
Yeah.
like that. Let's, obviously, we don't have enough information to make any kind of decisions, so I'm gonna table it, but at least it's on your minds. I can bring it back to this group, and, I'm gonna try to get a little bit more information on things. Go out and get their sizes of the lots and, do a little research. I just don't know a lot about that. Know what it
Get a little
requires.
business plan.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just don't know enough about that. There's enough folks out there that do. I mean, the folks that have the campgrounds.
Invite them to the next meeting.
Yeah, I don't know what, is required of them for the maintenance of that spot. I don't know, do they have to clean those things? I mean, I don't know. Just don't know anything about it.
Gotta have those sanitary hookups.
Yeah, gotta have sanitary hookup. And, well, I'll do a little research on that. You guys can too, and we'll see what we have. Any other questions or comments on any of that? Okay, we've hit our hour that I like to be at. The last was just the Article 1105, like I said, we'll try to put things on our agenda. If we've got done in 30 minutes, we would have spent 30 minutes with this mobile home ordinance. Did you all have any comments on that ordinance at all? Did you see anything in there that caught your eye, or?
I thought we had done away basically with M1 and M2, but it's mentioned in 110508.
It is, it is.
And I got to thinking, maybe, you know, we gotta consider whether we wanna keep that in there, throw that out. I mean, it's not just the M1 and M2, it's the whole thing.
It is. That's why I want to go through each ordinance individually, because I just think we have some stuff in there that's needs
Yeah.
cleaned up.
And under this arrangement, I think, at 110508, somebody that has been denied permit to put up a mobile home in town can appear before, or fill out an application and go through a process to get it approved by council and this body. Maybe get it done.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I think, I'm thinking originally when we made the last go around with this ordinance,
You said no.
we said no.
Yes.
So
So
my
that's,
question is, should we just remove the whole thing or not, or what?
that's the cleanup. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the cleanup right there.
Yeah.
Agreed. Definitely. Okay. So hopefully we can spend a little time on that, because I do think there's some cleanup, and that's exactly what I read when we got into that M1 and 2. I said the same thing. I thought, well, I thought we got rid of that M1
Yeah,
and
they
2.
did. I said, what's
And
the,
it showed up.
how do we miss that?
Showed up in a different one.
How do we miss that?
So, okay, so I'll bring that one back at our next, I'll put it back on the next agenda. Any questions or comments? You guys have anything you want to discuss before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Got it, thank you. Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Okay, thank you.